Salem King is a content creator and a visual storyteller with a mission to inspire people to do the things that inspires them. On this episode of the podcast, we go deep into understanding the life of a creator, the basic things you need for career growth, and why telling your progress story is more important than your success story.
You know, people think you should only talk about certain things after you've experienced success or if you have a clear solution, but then life is actually not that simple. It's not always A to B, it's not always white and black. So waiting till you have everything figured out before you start to share, before you start to talk about certain things, that's really limiting. And that's the reason why a lot of people will not tell their stories, and that's sad. So we need to change that.
You might have noticed that this episode was recorded off the studio, so you might notice a change in the audio quality. Please bear with me. I'm working on it to make it better. So thank you so much for watching, and enjoy the podcast. When I started the podcast in February, I was making a list, and as part of those lists, I remember I added your name to the first 5.
Wow.
In my mind, it was you, Fisayo Fushido, and a couple of other people. And while I was thinking of everything at that particular time, the only that kept coming to my mind was, how sure are you that you get these people? And just something was just in my mind, like, okay, just start from somewhere.
Yeah.
Eventually you find your way to walk up to these people and get them to come. And I'm so glad this is happening right now. So thank you so much for coming, and thank you for doing this.
My pleasure.
All right. So can you just introduce yourself in, well, whichever way you feel you need to introduce yourself, what you do and everything about you.
My name is Salem King. I'm a content creator and visual storyteller. I create content majorly in video form. My mission is to inspire people to do the things that inspire them. I want to reach out to mostly people between the ages of 18 to 25 and 25 to 34 too. Most of the people within these ages have kind of the same problems, you know, people who've left school and want to pursue something different from what they've studied. Okay. People who have creative passions that their families don't necessarily support or understand, you know, those kind of problems. And those are the things I talk about, but from the point of view of someone who's going through them too, rather than someone who's saying, when I was your age, you know. Yeah.
I think I understand that. I realized that most millennials don't really understand themselves at the beginning of life.
Yeah. Until
it's almost too late. Mm-hmm. Just like most of our parents. And every time I try to explain to them that this is what I'm doing, they don't really understand. Yeah. I keep having this issue with my parents, explain to them what I do. But for you, like, how were you able to get them to understand what you do?
Tell me about it. Well, I always wanted to teach.
Okay.
I think my parents knew that. But I was seeking physical platforms to teach. So I was looking for people to mentor me, coach me, so I could gather people in physical places and teach them about stuff. But I was 19 years, 20 years old. What did I want to gather people to teach them about, you know? So it was weird. So my parents saw it as more of a long-term thing, that I was going to go to school, study, have a master's degree, and go into lecturing. But I started doing it on social media. I just took out my phone, borrowed my friend's ring light, and I started making videos for my room and putting it out. And it turns out people actually resonated with a lot of the stuff that I put out. So that was it for me. They still don't fully understand it. They still don't get how I make money out of doing what I do. But, you know, I just try and help them see that I'm not into crime. Like, it's legit.
Yeah, that's true.
And that people's lives are actually being changed. I'm actually making an impact. You know, I tell them, oh, I hit 10,000 followers today. Oh, I hit 15,000 followers. They don't understand it. They're like, yay, congratulations, you know. So that's it.
All right, that's good. Like, for me now, I remember in January, when I wanted to start the podcast, that was when I came across your account.
Yeah. And
I think the first few videos, there was one particular one that talked about your friends, like things your friends don't want you to, like, on behalf of your friends. Remember that video?
Yeah.
And then there was one about just start, like, don't wait for anything. And that immediately helped me really get to a point where I just told myself, you don't really need all these big things to create. Just start from the little ones. And then I started doing audio talks about branding.
Yeah.
I remember a particular post at 1 midnight. I mentioned you in the post that this post was inspired by you.
Yeah.
And then everything just grew from there. And when I look back at this particular episode, it kind of has a connection to you and that particular talk that day. And I was like, okay, so if people can really start doing more of this, inspire others through what you do to even be better for themselves, then we eventually would get to a very good place as a creative community or as a nation. I think it's very important. So what's your stand on people, going out of their way to create things that help like that make them happy? Because one of your major goals is to inspire people to do things that inspire them. So,
well, the way I see it, you never know the ripple effect.
Okay.
Right? You never know the ripple effect of deciding to inspire someone. I mean, you never know the result. You never know the end result. You never know the problem you're solving in the moment. And 6 months from now, when someone will come in contact with your content and you don't even see the comments where they talk about their experience, it just passes you by, but it has an impact. For example, in February, I didn't know you. But over time, I've seen your work and it has resonated with me personally, but I did not know that you had connected as far back as February. But so the fact that you never know how far it goes, it could mean so much to someone else than you. It may be something that came very naturally to you. One design that just took you 5 minutes or 10 minutes, but to someone else, it was life-changing for them. It was like a turning point, just coming in contact with that thing that you decided to put out. So it's why you should never really stop. You should never really hold yourself back. And one thing I say a lot is your progress story or your success story is not as important as your progress story. Because, our success story can only be told when we have succeeded.
That's true.
Right? But a progress story happens every day. And a lot of people don't know it, but your progress story probably inspires more people than
that's
success.
true. Because people can actually relate with what is happening at the moment.
Exactly.
Because most of the videos I do on YouTube and all these places are things I'm still going through or I just, got out of. For example, I talked about anxiety some weeks ago. And in June, July, I had severe anxiety and burnout that I couldn't even create. So I stopped my podcast for almost 2 months because that period was very terrible for me. And at the moment I was going through that, I started to talk to some friends and I realized that these guys are going through exactly the same thing.
People think you should only talk about certain things after you've experienced success or if you have a clear solution. But then life is actually not that simple. It's not always A to B. It's not always white and black. So waiting till you have everything figured out before you start to share, before you start to talk about certain things, that's really limiting. And that's the reason why a lot of people will not tell their stories. And that's sad. So we need to change that.
Yeah, we need to. So how have you seen the progress from what you do right now to the eventual, I'm sure you have a plan and a goal for what you want to do for your life. So where you are currently, do you think it's leading you to that place?
Yes, it is. It is. Like I said at the beginning, my mission is to inspire people to do the things that inspire them, the things that they're afraid of, the things they think they don't have enough gear or they don't have enough equipment to start to do. I want to inspire them to do it now. And that's something that I have seen happen with all the work that I put out. It's always I consider it a rare privilege to be able to reach out to so many people, on a level that affects their life. They're not just entertained. That's it. No shade to anyone who entertains, but they're not just entertained, but they are changed. They make better decisions. They make better moves. So that's something that's important to me. My big dream is to, over time, build alternative teaching and learning systems, right? Where, because school sort of taught us what to think, but not enough of how to think. And that's something that I have a problem with. My dream is to build systems where teachers teach in ways that their students want to listen to, they communicate effectively, and that learners learn because they want to, not because they need to, not because there's an exam. Do you understand? So in all the classes that I take, I create the modules and courses on a need to know basis. So there's no unnecessary information. There's no, at the beginning, definition of storytelling. You can get that from Google. It's on a very hands-on level, on a need to know basis, where you can start applying this evening and give a result by tomorrow, So that's something that's really important to me, and that I'm already making my life's work.
All right. Oh, that's awesome. So talking about school now, where did you school? What was your background?
I went to Madonna University. I studied economics. I don't like... I was terrible at it.
Wow.
Yeah. So I think I was in year 3 when I realized I had made a mistake, but it was too late. I was just going to finish, make my parents proud. But but I found a way to finish. I was in school in my final year. That's when I discovered that I had a passion for teaching. I discovered that when I'm reading a book, the way I would make sense of what I'm reading is by imagining myself teaching someone.
Okay.
Or I would imagine myself in a conversation like this, explaining it to someone. It's just how I made sense of things. So I knew I wanted to teach people, and I knew it wouldn't be economics. So at the time, people would ask, Salem, what do you want to do with your life? And I'm like, I want to teach. And like, teach what? And I was confused. Exactly. So it put me in a very weird spot, because it's like you understand your passion, but you're unable to communicate your passion. It's a really weird place. And if there's anyone listening who's like in that place now, it does get better. Don't let that stop you. If you know there's something you're passionate about, keep pushing. You'll find something at some point. So that was it for me. That part of me that loved to teach did not find expression until Instagram. Until I started to make those videos on my phone and just put them out.
So the conversation continues, and if you'd like to listen to the full conversation on any of your preferred podcast apps, the links are available in the description below. Also, if you'd like to find out more about today's guests, about their works and about their life, you can also find the links in the description below. Thank you so much for watching, and if you would consider subscribing to this YouTube channel, that would be really amazing. That would really help me. Thank you very much for the support, and I'll see you next Wednesday. Peace. Oh, we recorded. Oh yes, it's working. All right, good. Yeah, I'll see you next Wednesday.